Beneath the calm cover of night in the heart of these fields, a different world awakens, one teeming with tension and anticipation. As darkness stretches across the land, wild boars creep from their hidden dens, driven by hunger and instinct. Their sudden movements leave behind trails of destruction, turning farmlands into battlegrounds. Yet for seasoned hunters like us, this shadowy hour is not just a threat, it's an invitation. Because under moonlight, every rustle becomes a clue, every shadow a potential target. Join us now as we venture into this nocturnal pursuit, where patience, precision, and adrenaline collide under the stars. At exactly 8 p.m., we departed for the designated hunting grounds, the engine rumbling low as night fell across the fields. Darkness didn't bring silence. Instead, it awakened chaos. Wild boars began emerging from the shadows in overwhelming numbers, their boldness unmistakable. Fueled by sheer determination, we closed the distance in our truck, headlights cutting through the murk. The moment we reached the herd, I opened fire. The night exploded in muzzle flashes and smoke. The herd scattered, but we pursued relentlessly, sending shot after shot into the dark. When the dust settled, shadows of fallen boars lay still. We circled back, ensuring every target was confirmed. The night was far from over. Using GPS tracking devices we'd planted earlier, we quickly locked onto another group signal, marked as Unit 26. As we moved in, the roar of our vehicle startled the herd, triggering a wave of confusion and panic. They scattered in all directions, but we had already predicted their escape routes. I focused on the stragglers at the rear. Each shot was calm, calculated, and deadly. In less than 3 minutes, that second herd was eliminated. The precision of the operation reflected the necessity. Wild boars in this region are responsible for nearly $2.5 billion in annual agricultural damage across the U.S., and this region had seen its share. Soon after, a report came in from another squad. Another herd had been spotted. Without delay, we changed course. This time, Felix was on the trigger. His rapid, practiced shots dropped several targets quickly, but these boars were faster and more evasive. It took repeated volleys to bring them down.
Get him!
Despite the success, it felt like a never-ending battle. Every hunter here understood the challenge. Wild boar populations can double within 4 months if left unchecked. Our haul was decent, but the sheer volume of these animals made it feel like we barely scratched the surface. To maintain the element of surprise, we abandoned the truck and continued on foot. The field stretched before us in eerie silence, broken only by distant rustles. Boars are nocturnal and cautious. They vanish at the slightest sound. We moved with purpose, flanking fields and rice paddies, our thermal scopes revealing every heat signature that crept or darted across our view. One by one, we marked our targets. From over 100 meters away, I observed a lone figure inching forward. When the moment was right, I exhaled and pulled the trigger. One clean shot, one confirmed takedown. Finally, from the edge of the forest, we spotted a larger herd grazing in the distance. I crouched behind a low bush and watched. At the first crack of gunfire from our team, instinct took over. They bolted in every direction.
Coming right at us, guys.
But our formation was airtight. No escape. The final barrage of shots echoed through the night, and soon, the clearing was still once again. Under the cover of night, and guided by patience, precision, and coordination, we had pushed back hard against an invasive force that never seems to stop growing. For the past 5 years, we've returned again and again to the dense forests bordering the farm, where wild boars have become more than a nuisance. They're a destructive force. These animals, known to cause over $2.5 billion in crop and property damage annually across the U.S., are relentless. Our missions began as a response to reports of devastated fields, but over time, they became something deeper, a commitment, a way of life. Every hunt tests our endurance, strategy, and instincts. And today, as we gathered once more at the forest's edge, that same tension crackled in the air. Our team assembled swiftly at the rendezvous point. Weapons were checked, radios tuned, and protective gear secured. The forest was unusually quiet, but that silence was deceptive. Wild boars are infamous for using the terrain to their advantage. We spread out, each step deliberate, scanning every stump and shadow. Then, breaking the silence, rustling from a nearby bush triggered a lightning-fast reaction. I fired. The shot landed clean, dropping the first boar in a matter of seconds. As we moved deeper along the trail, a second group of boars suddenly burst from the underbrush. Another quick shot, and we claimed a second trophy. But the deeper we pushed into the forest, the more apparent it became. This wasn't a routine hunt. The forest was teeming with aggressive boars. I radioed John with an urgent warning. A group was heading straight toward him. Within moments, he spotted them. One powerful, controlled shot later, a boar hit the ground hard while the rest scattered into the woods. These animals are clever and quick, capable of doubling back or using the terrain to vanish in seconds. As tension rose, the sharp barking of our hounds and shouts from teammates filled the air. Kadali, cool under pressure, wasted no time. The second he spotted movement, he fired, another clean takedown for the team. While the rest stayed behind to secure the perimeter, I decided to press further into the forest alone. That decision paid off. I heard it before I saw it, the telltale crunch of leaves, too heavy for a deer. A massive figure burst through the brush. No time to think, I raised my rifle and fired. Another clean hit. As the sun shifted overhead, we regrouped and launched our afternoon push near the farms. Fortune favored us. An entire herd unknowingly stumbled into our ambush. The first volley of gunfire rang out, and a large boar dropped on the spot. The survivors bolted, but we knew they'd return. They always do. Later that afternoon, Kadali was still watching the tree line when something moved. Not wind, not birds, but something heavier. He raised his scope, saw the target, and fired. Another hit. Moments later, we received intel that more boars were approaching the edge of the forest. I sprinted to the new position and was set within 2 minutes. Our dogs barked wildly, a sure sign the enemy was near. As the boar charged through the brush, I didn't hesitate. One clean shot ended the standoff. And that wrapped up another unforgettable hunt. If your adrenaline's pumping like ours was, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This fight to protect the land is far from over, and every hunt brings a new story. We've tracked the same elusive enemy through the unforgiving wilds of northern Arkansas, wild boars. What began as a single farmer's desperate report of destroyed crops has grown into a full-scale mission, one that's reshaped our lives and redefined the meaning of rural defense.
Положи.
These aren't ordinary hunts. They're calculated battles fought in thick brush and shadowy forests, where every rustle could be a threat, and every step could lead to a critical shot. Today, the stakes are no different, only higher. As the sun rises over the dense woodland, we gear up once again, not just to hunt, but to protect the land we've sworn to defend. At a rendezvous point near the forest edge, our team gathered in tight formation under the early morning haze. The air was thick with anticipation as we double-checked every rifle, scope, and radio. This wasn't just another outing, it was a coordinated defense against an invasive menace. Wild boars, known for their destructive habits and alarming breeding rates, females can produce up to 24 piglets a year, have turned these woods into a battlefield. Once geared up, we split into pairs and began our silent sweep through the undergrowth. Every rustle felt like a threat. The forest, though calm, carried an electric tension. Roughly 30 minutes into the patrol, that silence was shattered. A violent rustle erupted ahead, and instinct took over. I raised my rifle and fired. One boar down. We barely had time to process the takedown before another pack emerged just yards away. A well-placed shot dropped the lead animal, scattering the rest into the brush. As we pressed forward, it became clear this was no isolated incursion. Boars were moving aggressively through the terrain, forcing us to adapt on the fly. I radioed John, alerting him to a group headed his way. Moments later, the forest echoed again. John's precision shot had claimed another target. The deeper we moved, the more chaotic the forest became. The barking of hounds mixed with urgent shouts across the radio as our team tightened formation. These boars weren't just numerous, they were fast, unpredictable, and unusually coordinated.